Ohayo!
Ohayo!
Welcome to So Japanese Podcast that we talk all things about Japan from a Japanese
and a foreigner perspective.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ryusuke.
And I'm Matt. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You changed the order.
A little bit.
Today's episode, it's pretty unique. Well, unique spiritual events in Japan. So we're focusing on some of the festivals and things I guess people probably wouldn't have heard about, don't know too much about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess because we figured out there's actually a lot of unique spiritual event in Japan in general. So this will be only one of few that we picked. But for sure, I think some people might know all this. For sure, like you guys been seen on YouTube or like Matt knows most of this stuff. So
I know some. Yeah, at least like 2/3 of it. I think people will recognize some of these things, or they might have seen it. Maybe they didn't know what it was called, or the origin of it, or they didn't know like the depth behind it. The kind of like history and stuff. So I think like hopefully you guys will find this interesting. We have a lot of a lot of stuff to go through.
Yep. So we picked 3 unique spiritual event today, and then the first one is Otakiage. What is Otakiage? Like this, I think for sure you guys already seen that on Instagram or like I said, YouTube. What is Otakiage, Matt?
So it's kind of like a ritual that you perform for like cherished items or like belongings related to Shinto and Buddhism. Like maybe I guess it's specifically left by the deceased. And maybe or your favorite items too, right? That are no longer needed or like things you don't want, or is it, I guess of just the deceased. Anyway, the items are so like they're purified. There's like a memorial service with prayers and everything and sutra readings, and then they're kind of like set aflame. And so just to go over like the role of fire, I guess, burning things in Shinto and Buddhism, but there's sort of different interpretations of that ritual. And in Shintoism, it tends to be this idea of like borrow items with thoughts and souls, like you're kind of sending it back to heaven. But
it's like more borrowing. Like appreciation that like that these things keep me, I don't know, like peace or like being healthy or any type of like positivism, right?
Yes. And then you're sort of like sending it back in a way to the world, the realm of the gods. I'm not even like sure. It's I think it's like a interesting way to try to interpret it. I mean, and then you're kind of returning something to the deceased, which I think we'll talk about more. But it's kind of definitely like in Shinto and stuff. There's a lot of that practice,
and I think to the most easy imagination, that the image is, I think you guys been seeing the daruma doll was on a fire with like Matt has a daruma doll now. So like basically daruma doll, when you get a daruma doll, most of the daruma doll has only one eye. Then you draw the other side of eyeball, and then that gives you like luck or brings you some.
It's like, but you only draw it when you've fulfilled it, right?
It's like, yes.
Like a goal, like you're like you make a wish or a goal with one eye, and then when it's fulfilled, you fill in the other eye. That's it. Yeah. This one is not fulfilled yet.
Well, because you haven't got what you want.
Yeah, no. I think I had two daruma,
Okay.
and this one is to go back to Japan one day.
Okay, so so maybe like when you decide to go back to Japan, and then that's your like wish, kind of.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when I land, I'll fill in the other eye, and then I
Then
can
bring
donate it to a shrine or something to burn.
Well, then you're gonna bring it to the Otakiage, basically, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
elaborate
so-
on that, I guess.
What's origin of Otakiage? When they start, like approximately.
So well, I guess it's been forever, ancient times, or like
Obviously,
I think the recorded is like
it's-
Heian period. Is like I guess the rituals. I mean, a lot of stuff really comes from Heian period, sort of.
Yeah.
Like standard, like kind of set this like this trend almost with different rituals and things. So this is what we have here is like during the Heian period, which is like between like 794 and 1185 AD. And I think I would just like to add a note, like a lot of people might not realize, but when you go to like a Shinto shrine, especially, the clothing they're wearing is very like Heian period, when a lot of these like sort of rituals were like started, like
Right,
that kind of
right.
shrine attire, like the look.
They still wear
the
the
kimono.
very similar outfit that when they were on a Heian period, like 794 to like 1100, something like that, like 1200.
And fire rituals of some sort have been around since then, probably before that even, honestly. But
And like when I was researching this like Otakiage, I was actually surprised that because I thought shrine and temple are separate. Just because shrine is more like the god. You go there, then you appreciate them. You're not really make any wishes. You more go there and then like you basically thank them, like thank you so much for this year, like to protect me or like to make me achieve this goal or blah blah blah, right? And temple is more like they heal, they do all the like how to say, like a death event, like when
like that's how I learned about Shinto and Buddhism is like Shinto is usually dealing with life, where Buddhism deals with death.
Yeah.
And it might sound dark to say that, but Buddhism really is all about afterlife, right? It's about karma you're building and the kind of life that you live and how to transition from this world into nirvana. And you know, it's like everything about a Buddhist temple is about preparing yourself for like the
to
next
afterlife.
life.
Yeah, that's true. But Shinto is more like focusing on now. That
the now.
You have you have this life, and then you focus on this. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
That's
but
just
then,
like a very simple way to break it down, but there's obviously more nuances than that.
But then I was like,
Shinto death rituals and stuff too. But
yeah. So I was like, oh, I thought this is only for like Buddhist, like temple things, because like burning something, and then like I thought it's like more like a death side of event. But also makes sense that because like we also believe in that like fire is also God. I mean, Shinto is more like Shintoism is really about God, right? So like and I think we cover this episode at Shinto and then Buddhist episode. You guys can go back, but like Shintoism is more like a Yorozu no Kami, like so like different gods and every single material, every single things.
Everything is essentially has some sort of life force in it, or being that spirit. I think sometimes people say in English they'll call spirits, and I think that's because it relates most to like kind of maybe European folklore and stuff. This idea of like spirits inhabiting things, or like when they or maybe even like more like indigenous folklore and stuff. But like the word in Japanese is kami,
kami.
which is almost like like a god or like or spirit. Yeah, there's so many. Anyway.
Yeah.
But that's true. Yeah.
So then
Compared
like
to Buddhism.
Yeah, and in that way, I think it's kind of makes sense to like burning some stuff that you actually really care, then like you just don't want to throw away into the garbage. So you rather bring it somewhere that they can purify or they can appreciate. For me that like I had these things to achieve something. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like,
it's
this
an interesting idea.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. But I mean, of course, I'm Japanese, so I get this idea immediately. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because like I sometimes like even now in here, sometimes I have to throw away something because like it's obviously over. But sometimes I'm like, oh, what should I do? I don't want to throw away into the garbage. But there's nothing we can do. So like I just say like thank you, put in a paper or something, and then like bye bye. I sometimes do.
That's kind of cute. Yeah. I like that idea of appreciating the things you've had. Yeah, I think really goes into so much in Japanese culture. Even just like
I think so. Yeah.
The act of appreciating inanimate objects or something that like you've possessed that you're like. Yeah, appreciate having or whatever. But yeah.
So what's the purpose of burning like otakiage? Burning, basically otakiage in Japanese, it means like burning things in English. Okay. Yeah. So
I wasn't familiar with that word. Okay.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. I think we kind of touched this, but yeah.
Yeah. Just I guess so it's just like we have a sort of list here where it's like to understand the different things that you can consider to burn, I guess, and why. You can have like amulets, things like omamori, I guess, talismans and stuff. Statues of gods or scrolls or memorial tablets on Buddhist altars. They're considered like things that might be considered like yorishiro, which are like essentially this idea that a god inhabits this object. And so by burning this object, you're kind of releasing the god like possession of it, I guess. And in that way, you're sort of like, it's like you've completed the cycle of like you had this thing from this that represents this god and what this god can do for you, and you've achieved it, or you feel thankful for what you've maybe received from that god, so you burn it to kind of like, it's such a hard thing to explain, like give the god back or give back their power, or
it's kind of like we were
sever the connection.
Like we kind of like borrow the spiritual power from God, and then like this is the time, let's give them back, because like we already done this like for this period or whatever, and then like and let's move on. So like let's appreciate, and this is whole one concept, I believe.
I think there's also, I just want to note on this, but we'd have to do research on it. I think Ainu do something similar too.
For sure.
I think there's also like other stuff, similar idea.
I think it's more related to like a nature, because like
nature,
they always eat from like they eat the animals, and then like they came from nature, and then like obviously they kill the animals, but like they always appreciate that. So like to live by themselves, obviously they have to eat, so like they have to kill animals, but it doesn't mean they hate the animals. This is like I take you to my, like taking my body, but we are all together, that type of concept, right?
I think it's very it's almost it's like exactly like a lot of Native American beliefs. from my understanding, and I don't want to speak too broadly, but just this idea of appreciating something either from a god or from an animal that you've killed or whatever, and like kind of giving back or at least showing appreciation for it. So it's very similar. I think if people understand that concept, they can kind of understand the Japanese approach to it. But and then this one is sort of, actually this might be familiar, like, so the next one is like burning something to return it to the someone who, like, the spirits of the dead, I guess, like if somebody, you're a loved one, I guess it's like an item that they've had or something, and then you burn it to like send it to them, which is, I think if there's anyone who, I don't know how widespread it is, but like in Chinese tradition, I know that's a thing too. Like on the
makes
kind
sense.
of the Chinese version of Obon kind of thing. It's like you burn stuff when you visit like your loved ones, and paper money, for example, or even like paper inanimate objects to symbolize things that you're sending them. I know some things just from friends, what friends told me, but I don't know like all the details of that. But it's like, I guess it's just like a long, I guess it's much more from the Buddhist tradition.
I
Buddhist
think so.
And like,
Yeah,
and I guess maybe Taoist too. But and then the next one is like expressing gratitude, offering a memorial service to the thoughts and souls that reside in things. That one I'm a little bit like, I don't know if you can explain that a little bit more, but like that's just sort of what you were saying, I guess. Like something you
this
have
is like
that you
exactly. This is like I said, like because you keep long time or like you really love these things. Sometimes we believe that this has something. This because of like I care too much about these things, even though it's just a you know,
inanimate object. A ball,
but
or like
we still believe like, oh, now I attach to this, so can't just let it go because I feel something, right? I guess
this.
I guess everybody has that, even though non-Japanese people for sure, right?
But it's like for me, it's like I have so many boxes of crap that I've had since I was a kid, or things that's still around that I'm like, what do I do with this? But I can't throw it away. Eventually, a lot of things I just donate. If I see there could be use to it. And I think that's sort of just like, it's almost like you keep it around and then you mourn it and then you give it up. But I guess the Japanese approach is like, burn it. Because of those other traditions, I guess it makes sense. I wanted to note that actually also makes me think of the kind of the folklore around like yokai, because like you'll have like yokai that are, you know, you believe this inanimate object when you've had it for so long in your house, like it kind of almost takes on a life or soul of its own. And then a yokai sometimes is an extension of that, where it's like, oh, now you have a supernatural, a bakemono, or supernatural being that's sort of taken on from that inanimate thing, you know, like, and you'll have yokai that are representing like, you'll see it in like Spirited Away and stuff, like a bowl yokai, or like a broom or something, you know.
It's actually more object, not like not even like an animal or human or like a
tree or something. It's like just an object that somebody made comes to life after so long.
Trees.
So I feel like that's an extension of that feeling, you know, like that idea. But and then I thought this one was interesting, to get rid of bad relationships. So you just like burn your ex's, like, I don't know,
I guess
thing they gave you.
Kind of like also maybe like little from your mind. You know, like you're trying to just forget everything, but because the object still right in front of you, or like you might still stick with this, but you know that you need to give up, because otherwise you can't move on, right?
It's just like there's something holding you to it, like connecting you, and then you're just like, I just want to get
exactly. And then but I guess that means like it's not easy to disconnect, that's why you use this event to like, okay, this is the time. Let's go. Bring it. Burn. See the fire. And then, okay, I feel better, I guess.
But
for some people.
Do you do that at a shrine too? Or do you just do it in your backyard or something? If you're just like, I hate this X. I want to get rid of this book they gave me or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like this shirt they
Yeah.
gave me or whatever, this thing they made me. Do you just go
Yeah.
to a shrine and be like, hey, I have some shit I need to burn? Or are you just like, I'm just going to go burn this on the beach in this?
I mean, I guess people that ate away or like I do personally just dump in a garbage. This is like more like for me, it's like garbage. Done. I'm happy. But of course, everybody has different, different way.
Hey, I
to,
mean, in Japan,
yeah,
everything is incinerated anyway. So if it's put in the garbage, you could just say it's just a very, very cheap, low key otakiage.
That's true. That's true. But,
in fact, if you really didn't like your ex, you could just be like, it's gonna get the trash otaki.
but also, I think because of like in Japan, like listeners, you guys need to make sure if you want to live in Japan, the garbage system in Japan is like insane. The pet bottles you have to keep separate with the cap, and then bottles are separate.
Yeah,
Separate.
And sometimes bin. the wrapper
also separate bin. So imagine if you have some memory stuff from your ex or something, but then okay, this has plastic and a paper, or this has leather and something, and then like okay, I just gonna bring it to and
like sorting out this stupid thing.
But okay, speaking of recycling stuff, it's actually they don't take whatever though. You guys need to make sure. Maybe you guys need to ask what you can bring, and then what they can burn for you. Obviously,
like at a shrine.
Exactly, they don't burn any plastic material. I believe.
So you can't. Yeah, you can't burn your Barbie doll, I guess, but you could. But if it's like a traditional doll that has,
but they can still purify them, and they can do their way to little bit. So those are maybe made of plastic or whatever, and then you can destroy or burn, and then ask them. Yeah, they can still do the purify event, and then they will put it away for you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the last one there is like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Burning fur products.
Product like a.
So what does that mean? Like you're
basically the coat, no? Like a animal coat.
Yeah.
Like a mink or.
But you're doing that like after the fact to appease the animals that died to be to make that coat, or.
So this is a little bit weird, as we live in North America, because like if you care about animals, first of all, I don't think you have the fur animal coat.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I guess it's just because in Japan, I guess unfortunately, this part of education is not there yet. So, because I know here North America or most of the country now, animals are more like close to human. I mean, like we trying to
there's animal rights and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Treat same way as human, and just because they live. But some Japanese people still think, for example, like a dog. A lot of house dog are still outside because they still think family though. They still think family, but at the same time, they have dog as a guard. Like protecting
they're
house.
like they don't belong inside or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Like for example, my house, I had a dog when I was a kid. He's always outside. Always outside.
Ooh.
Yeah. No matter what, he's always outside. Only when the typhoon come in, then my dad let him in because it's dangerous. So he care about him, but at the same time, like it's different mindset, especially like my dad age people. So this is kind of weird, but like we said, like if they care about the animals, first of all, they don't have that far. But I think sometimes you get present from someone, right? Maybe you never wear, and you don't know what to do.
Well, it can be vintage too.
That's true. Yeah. So then, if that situation, then you don't want to throw away, so you bring it them, and then this definitely they can burn because it's animal product at the end, and then maybe you can appreciate, or maybe you say like thank you so much, and then like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So and Otakiage is also not only one shrine or temple. It's actually like so many. I mean, like in general, shrine and temple in Japan is like so many. What I heard, temple itself is like almost like same number as the dentist we have. Oh no, same number as number as a konbini.
Konbini?
Yes.
Konbini? No, actually.
Yes.
Wow.
So
temple or shrine?
What I heard is temple.
Okay. There must be more shrines.
For sure. But
like,
you know what? I don't know because like temple is more. But temple is more important for Japanese people because like no matter what, when we die, we go temple. Most of the people.
See.
You know what I mean? Even though I didn't know my religion till my grandpa died.
Okay, yeah.
Like I knew I'm a Buddhist, but I have no idea which one, right? Just because we don't really care, like which Buddhist religion we're in.
Yeah.
Just because we don't go service, we don't really do for this religion.
You don't really practice it really.
Yes.
But you have a Butsudan?
Now we have a Butsudan because my grandpa.
Okay, but before you didn't.
Before, when I was a kid, we have nothing. We have nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, we have nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
But even what's the house shrine?
Kamidana.
Kamidana, yeah.
Yeah, Kamidana. No. That's funny though because like my house they do you know. They do their own like coffee shop like business. Normally, people have kabidana to pray with. Because when I was working restaurant in Japan, most of the restaurants we had a kamidana, and I have to change the water. I have to change the plant, flowers.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my parents don't really care.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like I think even like some restaurants I've seen, I think it's Norin in Montreal, I think they have a kamidana in their restaurant. Which I guess we could talk about in another episode, but just a brief, it's just a little Shinto shrine you keep in your home.
Yeah.
Usually it's like on a shelf above somewhere, and it's just like almost like I guess a shrine to the gods in your home or the god of your home or whatever. You can I guess put things there that are associated with certain kami too. I guess certain shrines, but so it's something you'll often see that is just sort of there on the side, you know?
And so what's the typical Otakiage event? Because like I said, there's always a lot of Otakiage event in like your neighbor temple or like shrine, or you can also call them, then they can set up the time to burn your
like
stuff
an
if you need to. Exactly. Yeah. But
sorry,
you're just
I'm gonna be
pick
late today.
Burning
appointment before work. Yeah.
No.
Like a really
in Japan,
here.
there's no late because it has to be on time. Everything has to be on time. The train is on time. There's no way you have an excuse to be late. Anyway, so we pick a couple big name Otakiage event.
Yeah, so like one main one, I didn't know what this was called for the longest time, but I kept seeing things from it. It's called Dondoyaki. And it's held every year around like January 15th-ish, 14th, 15th. and it's called Little New Year as well. And the Koshogatsu, right? That's the way to say it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's called that because, just to give a little note, there's a lot of festivals and holidays in Japan that might have double names or might sound redundant, and it's because Japan switched from the lunar calendar to the Gregorian calendar in the Meiji period. So there's a lot of stuff that is a part of the lunar calendar. They may be parallels to Chinese festivals and stuff like that, or the titles for certain seasonal transitions, etc. And so this is one of those things where it's like it actually lines up with what would usually be like Lunar New Year, which would be like mid-January to early February. So that's I think that's where like Ko Shogatsu comes from, because now New Year's held at January 1st. This is sort of like a relic of that, but a relic of the Lunar New Year. But the idea here is that there's during the New Year's period, there's all these things you might put up around your home, like kadomatsu, and businesses actually.
Yeah,
you'll see it like kadomatsu. To me, I kind of like to describe as like, it looks almost like, for anyone here, it looks like a Christmas planter.
Yep.
That you'd see in front of buildings, because like here you might walk in front of corporate towers downtown Toronto or something, and it'll be like a planter that has like cabbage or brassica and like pine or like holly sticking out of it and branches, and it's like a decorative thing. So it looks like that, but it actually has very intentional meaning to it. And it's like, it's one of these things that we mentioned earlier, like a yorishiro. That's kind of like, you have these things around your home at New Year's that are sort of welcoming in kami. And other ones, there might be shimenawa or shimezakari, I think is the other one. And they actually also look, I find it really funny to they talk about these parallels, but they almost look like Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
They have the same kind of themes of like winter-y things, like pine branches, mandarin oranges, gold, red, white. And so you have all these different ornaments that you put up that are sort of like talismans and things that welcome in gods and good luck and stuff. And so the idea of dondoyaki is that these items have basically been spent. It's like you welcomed in the kami and good luck and whatever and fortune for the new year. These items have now served their purpose in a way. And so now you have to kind of purify them or do a Otakiage type event. And so different places do it differently. And the first time I encountered it was in Nagano, and I had no idea what was going on, but it was like, it's basically like a giant bonfire, but it's when you see it before they burn it, it looks really strange because it'll just be like, looks like a teepee shape of usually like bamboo poles, and then all these ornamentations stacked around it. So you'll see like daruma, like usually there's tons of daruma of different sizes. You'll have like tiny guys like this, and then you'll have like one's the size of my torso. And they're all stacked up. And then you also have like your amulets. So if you bought something like omamori, which is like a kind of a good luck charm, or other talismans or good luck charms, you would bring it to a dondoyaki event and throw it on the pile. And the idea again is like, you've used that luck, or you've used the power of that god or whatever for that year, and you are now giving it back. And so they light it on fire, and it's quite disturbing to me to watch the daruma burn, because they all have these little faces with big black eyes.
I know.
And you just see them like slowly burn away.
Burning.
So I've seen all these like images of them, like it looks like they're like screaming or something, like on fire. But yeah, that's just what you do with all the New Year stuff. So imagine like burning your Christmas tree and wreaths and garland every January after the holidays. That would be like the same idea almost. Like, it looks kind of, seems strange, but it's an interesting event. And then you can like roast mochi dango. You have like dango
Yeah.
that you roast over it, and then it's like you're getting the fumes of good luck. It's like
yeah. Well,
you roast
no,
over it, and then you're supposed
yeah.
to be like healthy or something.
Yeah.
If when you eat it, that's
Mm-hmm.
an interesting one. So I know the most about that one. That's the one that have the most
The
knowledge about.
dondonyaki.
But
Yeah.
yeah, have you gone to a dondoyaki?
No, never.
Really?
Oh, maybe one time. Yeah.
In your community or
No, it was like somewhere else. Yeah, it wasn't like my community. Yeah.
It's funny because when I ask people about it, most people are just like,
Mm.
"Oh, I don't know. Oh, maybe," or like, "Yeah, I guess the temple would do it." But they
Yeah.
wouldn't go.
We don't really.
Yeah.
We don't really. Yeah. But yeah.
But there's some crazy ones like you'll see a whole field with these bonfires,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they'll go into the night, and then people are standing around. Looks like they're roasting marshmallows, but they're roasting dango
Yeah.
rice balls
Yeah.
over the charcoal of it after. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. And what's the next main
next one. So
Yep.
doll memorial service.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this is what I also find interesting and a little sad when I've seen the images of it too.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
people bring dolls, stuffed animals, to a shrine or temple to be burned as well. And it might be like a weird idea again to burn your doll. I think it's just also weird because there's all this idea of like creepy dolls that are alive, and then it's like
Yep. There's a
burning it.
yeah. There's a always story. Some Japanese old dolls had the
Yeah.
hair, and then the hair start like growing, and it
There's
just
one in
keep
Hokkaido.
growing. Yeah, right.
You can go see it.
in a temple or shrine.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's called okiku, not to be
Okiku,
confused
yeah.
with the other okiku from Japanese ghost stories. But I guess that's a popular name.
Yep.
You can apparently go see this doll where the hair grows.
Yeah. Well, I don't
And
know. Like no one
There's
knows
some story
why.
behind it. We'll
Yeah.
have to talk about that around
Yeah.
like Halloween or something.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, I don't remember
But I guess because of those, like those things actually happen, then well, like in general, like old Japanese house, we had dolls that like we celebrate for like newborn baby or like for the girls, like a lady,
Hinamatsuri.
yeah, Hinamatsuri, like a girls' day or like even like a boys' day. There's another dolls that we get from other family members. So like there's always like a Japanese dolls exist every single house, even though like, and dolls are not really cheap normally because like they wear like a mini type of yukata and then like it's really good looking, like a solid.
They're extremely ornate, like very highly detailed, ornate dolls with like the faces and the clothing are like
so
real life. Like
it's kind of makes sense that you don't really want to just throw away because there's always to me why, because like that means there's so many people involved to make this doll.
There's
You
so
know
much
what I mean?
work and care. Like it's clearly
Yeah.
made with craftsmanship and
Exactly.
not
Then
manufactured.
And you don't really want to just throw away sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though your doll doesn't even grow the hair.
It's
But
not showing any. Its eyes follow me around the room and its hair grows, but it's I don't know. It's funny because I guess like the mentality in Western culture would be like, oh, I want to give, people have that feeling still. I think just because dolls are human-like, based on humans, we attribute certain affection and kind of had this idea of like a doll having a soul or something. But I think that the idea is more like, oh, I want to pass it on to somebody who will also take care of it. And not, but then it's interesting that like for Japan it can be an okiage for your doll instead.
Omiyage.
Okiage, or like
Otakiage.
Otakiage. Sorry.
Yeah, otakiage. Yeah.
Otakiage.
Otakiage.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
missed
yeah.
the sound there. Yeah.
No.
Yes. Otakiage for your doll. And it sounds expensive because you pay like.
Oh yeah, so some like
Pay for it.
especially if you don't go like the big event like Dondon Yaki or those event, then if you still wanna go like with your schedule,
Separately, yeah.
then you can book, you can make a appointment, but obviously you need to bring some money to let them do it. But this is yes, it's cost, but at the same time for us, it's think more like a
Funeral?
appreciation, like a funeral, like
You're
yeah.
paying for that service because you see value in it, not just like
yes. And this is the side note that if you need to bring some money to Otakiage with those type of event, normally don't bring just the cash with bare hand. You normally trying to get a new bill or cleaner bill.
Right.
Put it into the envelope. The envelope actually like if you go konbini, there's so many envelopes in Japan. One is for wedding, one is for funeral, one is for this, one is for that. So like just type in Otakiage envelope and then you can see the image. Then you can find in konbini. But
just to clarify, it's not like when you go to a store here and you get like a card. A wedding card. It's just the envelope that you put the money in. Yeah.
So, I mean, after all, for sure, if you don't bring with the envelope or like you used money, they still take it for sure. But to trying to follow the tradition, maybe they will more appreciate too. And then if you bring it those things with the money, that means I guess you care the product or the object.
Yeah.
So I think you should take one more step to just doing this to appreciate your memory things, right?
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of that.
Yeah, no, I love the idea. Yeah.
It's such an interesting idea.
Yeah. And that's
appreciating things you have.
Well, yes, that's why I think at least we care about everything. And then recently, a couple of my friends went to Japan first time, and then the first message they gave me was like, "Buddy, your country is really clean." And because from this too, you know what I mean? Because we care all the object. So we need to keep clean.
Space, object.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's true. I appreciate that they get a lot about Japanese culture in general. Just like just having appreciation for certain things that I feel like a lot of people don't care or like overlook. And of course, not everybody does it all the time or perfect, but it's like just the general sentiment people have around their space. The thing, it's kind of like Marie Kondo comes from that kind of.
I was gonna say
vibe,
that.
Right?
I was gonna say that. Like Marie Kondo. You wanna explain about her a little bit?
Yeah, like I'm sure all of you've known when she was going viral a few years ago. The whole what's her catchphrase again? It's like if you don't
like spark.
The spark
joy or something.
Doesn't spark joy. Then get rid of it.
Yeah.
And her idea, I think she's like backtracked since having a kid. But like, appreciating your space, revamping your space, and getting rid of things that don't really spark joy. But like, this just the same sentiment of like how you appreciate your space and the objects you have. And she's sort of saying like, not just get rid of things you don't want, but like keep the things that you really do want, that you really do appreciate, and have the value those things give you have by just giving you joy when you look at them or whatever, So it's the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
She just turned it into a reality show.
Yeah. No, it's actually I actually like it. Like I actually like it because like that.
Yeah.
because if you say too much spiritual things, I like spiritual things too. So I don't really, I'm not gonna be really offensive or like, but like, of course, so many people are still think, well, it's fucking spiritual. What are you saying? Like, it's not real or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
It's more like how it relates to you and how you feel about it. It doesn't.
yeah.
You don't have to get too metaphysical about it or
But I
even religious about it. Like,
but then I wanna, like, I kind of always question those people, like, but so why you bought it? You didn't feel anything, then you buy it. Of course you felt
that's a
it
good
something.
point.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because if you bought something, that means for sure you felt something at first, no matter what. Like,
there's a reason you want it.
Yeah, well, for example, you bought the game. I love this game. I want to play this game. Or maybe like you bought this shirt. Oh, I like this shirt. I want to buy this shirt. Sometimes, of course, you bought just because you need to buy it.
Yeah.
But
like, especially if you're collecting something.
Yeah.
Or if it's even like a omiyage type thing you get from another country, like you bought it because it has some significance to you usually.
Yeah.
Or, like, jewelry you're wearing, anything, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of idea, like just taking that a little step further and appreciating it and not just throwing it away.
Definitely. Yeah.
So today we finish with we're mostly just covering Otakiage.
Yeah.
But we have there's so many other like interesting rituals and things we want to talk about coming up. And so we'll consider this sort of like another side series that you can kind of check out and like learn about the different like rituals you might not be familiar with and traditions that are unique to Japan.
And I think it's very like I believe our listeners like some Japanese culture, and then like if you like, obviously you notice that like, there's a lot of like spiritual things that Japanese actually believe, or not even believe, but they still do. That's more like my, like I didn't really believe anything, but I still joined a lot of like matsuris and then like any type of event that actually spiritual,
Yeah, like I always feel like it's described like a lot of people aren't like, a lot of Japanese might say they're not religious, but then it's just so intertwined with the culture, the historical things like rituals and matsuri and everything. But you don't have to believe in the kami to
no, you don't have to believe, but like
it's just part of like your everyday life at that point.
No, that's it. That's all about like you living in the life, and then that means like you're connecting to something always. It's not just a human, and like human is the one kind of like, oh, we made this word, we made this that, but think about it, the history of, like, for example, history of Japan itself is like almost like what, 2,000 years old? Or no, but actually from like BC too, right? Like so long. There's a history, and then you have no idea what was going on then. But we just don't want to think too much sometimes.
No, that's where you were going with that. It's just stuff that's just so intricate. Intrinsic to everyday stuff.
Thank you so much for today's episode that you guys listening.
We got a lot. We have a lot more. So, but thank you so much for listening today, guys.
But I know also when Knight and John did the shrine and temple, like a lot of people loved it, and then you guys also give us really nice comments. So like, I want to do this type of episode with Matt more and more, and then like Matt has a lot of knowledge as well, so like will be a good one, and stay tuned for that.
I'm excited to share more about that, share more about like Shinto and Buddhist. There's so much to talk about. So
Yep.
expect more of this.
Okay, so thank you so much for today. And please make sure 5 stars for Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to your own phone. And leave us a comment if you want to. We will try to get you back, or like we will do what you guys want us to episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
はい。
Thanks so much for today.
ありがとう。
ありがとう。
バイバイ。